This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome. It's the Close the Deal show. I'm your host, Terrence McCray. Every week, we like to educate the public in business, connect business professionals, and share strategies in how to actually close deal. The show also raises and discusses civic issues facing our nation, spotlighting entrepreneurs, small business owners, and nonprofit organizations in California and abroad. And if you're looking for strategies to help you scale your business or seeking career leadership skills, then you're in the right place. Thank you for joining us today. Our sponsor today is Herb Austin, is a financial service professional who started his career in human resource and real estate operation. Herb has a bachelor's in business management and human resource, and in 2018 he completed his MBA in global business at St. Mary's College in California. Herb founded Halston's Pacific, which is focused in three areas: real estate, retirement planning, and insurance. As a founder with extensive real estate experience, Herb specializes in fashioning unique solutions for long term investments, property owners who are looking for the off ramp from active property management. He provides alternative like kind replacement properties for 1031 exchange. A second area of the practice is retirement planning. They like to ask, are you 100% certain you're going to have a great retirement, or do you have some doubt? We review your existing retirement plan to see how we have, how we may improve it and offer you some options. Coming from HR, Herb has reviewed numerous 401k plans for implementation. There are many firms whose 401k plans could use a reassessment. As a school teacher, city, state, police, or fire department employee, are you getting the best results from your 457B or 403B plan? The third area is life insurance and long term care. Do you have the old kind of life insurance or the new kind? Herb can show you the difference. Numerous surveys show that over 70% of people over 65 will need some kind of assisted living or assisted care. Herb always says you should start that planning now. Preparation is the only way to create that great retirement. Ladies and gentlemen, our sponsor of the Close the Deal Show Business Network webinar series today is Mr. Herb Austin.
Hey, Terrence, thank you so much. I have to really quickly do a shout to Nicole there because I saw her when she sat down at her desk, and the first thing she did was take out a wipe and clean her phone. Thank you for reminding me to do that. I need to do that more often. So I thought I would open up and sort of give you guys a little story about when I did my MBA. Part of it was in Africa, 58 countries on the continent. I was in Rwanda, and what we learned 2 days before we got there, and we had a complete plan of what we were going to do during the event, was that the African National Union was going to have their annual finance committee meeting in our hotel. So that means there were delegates, ambassadors, heads of state all over the place in our hotel. And in some ways, I had to wake up in the morning and say, am I in the safest place on the continent or the most dangerous? That was the option. But what happened was it gave us this great opportunity where we met a lot of different people who were in heads of state and their staff. And it just gave us this really broad opportunity because life dealt us a left turn. And I think that's what we're dealing with right now. Life has dealt us a complete left turn, and we're working at home. So we have to figure out, how do we make this interesting? How do we continue to get our work done? Because when this happened, I had to turn. I'm a conversation person. I meet with people, I talk to people, I'm very engaging and enjoy that conversation. And I now have to do it online. And so that was one of the things we learned during that program, was that we just had to change with the program, and that's where we have to learn how to pivot. And in my world of financial services, a lot of my clients are high net worth individuals who are planning retirement, and they have large real estate portfolios. A lot of them are at a point and stage in their life where they don't want to manage real estate anymore. They want out. So we provide alternatives for them. And usually, a lot of times, I am working with realtors, CPAs, attorneys, etc., who are focused on creating an environment and a long-term plan for their investors and their clients. A CPA doesn't really care how it happens. They just want the problem solved for their client. And that's a lot of what I do by bringing a new solution on the 1031 exchange place and long-time investors. The other thing I think about when you're doing a presentation is to minimize. So often we hear people and they're going to say, well, you know, this is how, and well, like this. My focus in telling people to do a presentation is take your time, have some notes, and if you are prepared, you will minimize the uhs, you knows, and likes, because those three communication faux pas will minimize the attention span of the person listening to you. And that's why you should be prepared and have the information ready and on the top of your head. One of the things I've done over my career has worked with companies in a 401k space.
I'm really sorry, I am in a meeting right now.
I've evaluated many 401k plans.
Can you just tell me the email because it didn't come?
Strategies, and who's ever talking, can you please mute yourself? Thank you.
317.
Tatiana, I think you need to mute yourself. So what we have going on in working with people who are looking at long-term retirement planning, how do you do it? How am I managing my 457B or 403B or my 401k? A lot of times we go in and do an analysis and say to a client company, here's how we can reallocate your funds so that you're getting a better strategy and a better return. And that takes time, and it takes just going in and taking time to meet with people. And then that opens the door to a one-on-one introduction with many of those employees to try to figure out what are your plans for retirement. And when we look at, are you 100% sure you're gonna have a great retirement, or do you have some doubt? Most people have some doubt. Most people are trying to figure out, especially today, this is one of the areas of my practice that has been so busy. People have really been talking about, how do I get out of debt? How do I structure a strategy long-term so I have a better retirement, better cash flow? And that's the third area that we focus in. As a financial advisor and a financial specialist, what happens is you can specialize in everything. I'm licensed to everything. I'm licensed to manage your stock portfolio, but we work in these three areas specifically. If we get a new area, it's because we've hired another person to the team. For the basic reason, we want to stay in our lane, we want to stay in our wheelhouse and what we do best. And I think too, that's how you are very interesting in a Zoom meeting, by knowing your material, knowing your product, and knowing your strategy. And how can I help you? The question I'm going to ask you is where I started. Are you 100% certain you're going to have a great retirement, or do you have some doubt? If you have some doubt, my information's right there. Give me a call, pop me an email, send me a text, and let's see if we can connect. So I think, Terrence, I did that in 5 minutes. But I think that makes up for kind of the minute or two I went over last time.
Okay.
So I could leave it for people to ask me questions.
Absolutely, you could. But remember, any information or questions that you have for our sponsor today, you can copy and paste inside the chat room, and he'd be willing to speak with you.
Absolutely.
Definitely, and we have other people. Unfortunately, a lot of people seems to have a little difficulty logging in for whatever apparent reason, and they're some of our next speakers. So we're going to skip them until they're able to come back, and we're going to call our next speaker, Ms. Sheila Tyson.
Thanks, Terrence, and thanks for this opportunity. Good afternoon, everyone. Who am I? Well, I'm that person that no one really likes to talk to until it's absolutely necessary. Yes, my name is Sheila Tyson, and I'm a proud independent life insurance agent. Have been doing insurance since 2005. Many people associate life insurance only with death. Of course, life insurance pays off death benefits to beneficiary, but it does much more than that. It could pay mortgage, send kids to college. It could also provide a guaranteed lifetime income. And God forbid, if someone was to become ill with a stroke, heart attack, or God forbid, cancer, they could benefit from that policy while they are still alive if they have the properly structured life insurance policy. My primary strategic vision now is to continue to do what I've been doing, and that is to educate my community, especially seniors such as myself. It is my opinion that a lot of seniors have been put into life insurance policy that is inappropriate for them, and they cannot usually afford it, and they end up canceling that. And the only one that wins there is the life insurance agent, and of course, the life insurance company. Now, I think I'm supposed to mention something about this new Zooming. What I could say about that, at first, when we first started that, I was not feeling this Zooming at all. And I think the advice I could give to anyone is the mindset. You change the mindset. Now I embrace it, and I'm finding out that I save much more money on gas, and also my earned dollars are kept. I'm saving money on lunches, all these meetings. Time, I'm able to schedule more meetings, more appointments, which means more revenue for me. Now, with the Zooming with the clients, most of my clients, I insist upon at some point they're going to do a virtual meeting with me because I want to see them and I want them to see me. There's nothing like reading body language, and I want to be able to read that body language. If I throw out a premium, say it's $5,000 a month, I want to be able to see their reaction because that's going to tell me that I'm going to need to do some adjustment on it. Keeping the interest on the Zoom meeting, I like to keep it interesting by asking questions, having fun on it, and being relaxed on it. I find that if you do that, that makes the clients more amped and more relaxed and more receptive to the meeting, and it just goes smoothly. I'll give you an example of having fun. The other day, I was on a call with one of my clients who had told me she had allergy, but she was doing a lot of coughing and sneezing. So what I did was I got my mask and I put my mask up to my face, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm not trying to catch anything. I'm trying to avoid this COVID. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna just put my mask on." And she fell out laughing. And what it did, her husband was sitting there all starchy like, and it broke the ice, and he started laughing. And he said, "I can't read your mask. What your mask say?" I said, "Well, I use this when I'm out in public and walking, and it says simply, need life insurance, ask me how." So that broke the ice with him, and he just started laughing, and he told me, he said, "That's a good idea. As you know, I'm in business, and I'm gonna get a mask that's custom to his business." So I think it's all in how we come across on the Zoom meetings. If you come across all nervous and shifty, then it makes, in my opinion, it makes the meeting and the presentation all shifty. Now, how can I help? Or if someone in this group need help, of course, yes, you can call me for life insurance. But more important than that, if someone here needs someone to just listen to their presentation and maybe give feedback, I certainly am willing to, as one professional to another, make that time to help you do that. I don't mind doing that at all, because sometimes other folks looking at your presentation before you do the real presentation, you could get some good feedback and it would help you. How can I be reached? Of course, I have these young people that have me on Facebook and other social media platforms, but I'm old school. The best way to reach me is simply by my cell phone. It's 707-853-6145. And all that other stuff that they have me on, I would have to find out and let you know then. But like I say, I'm old school. Just pick up the phone and call me. Thanks, Terrence. Thanks, everyone.
Absolutely. Make sure you put that same information in the contact room. Our next speaker is Michael.
I will.
Michael, are you there?
I'm here, Terrence. How you doing, buddy? Thanks so
All
much for
right,
having
brother.
me on, guys. So I am Michael Wilhelm, real estate entrepreneur and founding and managing partner of the Network Group. Again, thank you so much for having me on the show. I enjoy listening to all you guys talk. I take a lot of these nuggets and try to apply them to my own life. So, my good friend and mentor, Bishop T.D. Jacobs said, "It is not the movement of the clock that produces the newness of life. It is the movement in your mind." And right now, we're all going through this inevitable process of change that the question that you have to ask yourself is who you're going to be on this other side. Are you going to be the same person or a better version of your higher self? What my wife and I like to do, we're working on a husband and wife real estate team, or wife and husband, if you ask her, it really depends on who you're having the conversation with, is we help people to get from where they are to where they want to be. We look at the game as a real estate as monopoly. We're all taught to acquire 3 houses or 3 greenhouses and turn that into what was it, a hotel. Well, hotels right now are very struggling. We turn those 3 houses and turn them into an apartment building. When you're able to utilize real estate for tax advantages, for passive income, it can change your life forever. And so that's the way that we approach the business. As far as virtual meetings go, you have to practice. When you go to a boardroom and then you end up in these meetings like this face to face, you have to practice because practice makes perfect. When I say practice, I mean record yourself, listen to what you talk, what you sound like, have lighting, be able to deliver your message clearly and effectively, because you have to visualize what people are saying and what people are doing on the other side. A lot of times it's hard to read body language when you're looking very closely into the screens, and what you have to do is visualize it. Imagine people nodding, taking notes, listening to what you're saying, and applying that to their own life. As far as what people can take from this webinar and what I'm having to say today is, you're in a position right now where you're able to change your outlook on life. As I mentioned, we're all going through this inevitable process of change. And if we don't do something as far as changing our old habits, we're going to continue to be the same person that we were moving forward. And so what we like to do and what we do with our customers and our clients is help them get from where they are to where they want to be. And it's going through these meetings, doing one-on-one Zoom meetings, having fun with it. That's so important to do on these Zoom meetings, because it's one thing to just sit there and listen, but if you have fun and just be yourself and let your personality come out, people will be able to be receptive on the other side and accept that. I want to give you guys the biggest hug right now and the biggest air fives and dabs and whatever we can do to connect, but at the end of the day, you just have to have fun and just be yourself.
Oh, is that it, Michael?
That's all I have right now. If there's anything else you guys want to know, I'm happy to be
Okay.
here. But
No
here's the thing,
problem,
Harris.
Michael.
I'll leave you with one more thing. People are rewarded for public for what they practice for years in private. My other mentor, Tony Robbins, taught me that. And life is happening for you and not to you. So as I mentioned, we're all going through this process of change. Be receptive and just accept everything that's happening, because if you really use this energy that you have and use it towards building a better life for yourself, a better business for your family, and just putting yourself out there, you're able to change the world. And that's all I have for you, Terrence.
Thank you,
Terrence, I
buddy.
think you're just shocked that everybody's running on time
Oh,
or early.
absolutely. Our next speaker is Nicole.
Hello, I'm Nicole Mundendorf. I'm the CEO and wealth advisor of Prosper Wealth Financial in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I left Morgan Stanley in 2003 to start my own firm, and single mom, 10-year-old daughter going on 18, and 12-year-old son. Never planned on being a financial advisor, but it's been a perfect career for me. About a year and a half ago, I bought a commercial building. And so fast forward now, I've got 9,000 square feet. There's 8 of us, and we're growing and expanding. And I would say that to shift to virtual, I feel like people have really either taken this to their advantage or used it to their disadvantage. And if anything, I would hop on a plane. I've written 5 books, and I'm generally on TV once a week. And so I normally would be hopping on a plane to go visit clients in other states, as well as then being on TV. And now I get to sit in my office and be much more efficient with my time. And so it's utilizing the things that are out there and not hesitating to reach out and make connections, because so many more people are willing to connect because they're looking for those connections. And if you be real and if you be authentic and you share and you are willing to be vulnerable, I have found personally for me that it's been successful. And then just always be on top of the mute button so that you're aware of that. How we have kept virtual meetings interesting. For me, I'm dealing with financial planning. And so it's sharing screens with clients and sending them lunch to their office. We normally host Wine, Women, and Wealth. And so we've made that now virtual here online. And so it's just shifted to do things a little bit more creatively. Rather than hosting events and dinners, we now did a wine tasting virtually. And so it's all about being creative and thinking outside the box and knowing your audience. And then having an agenda, because I find a lot of these Zoom meetings or online meetings, well, if it's from 1 to 2, I've got one from 2 to 3. It's like, okay, come on, let's go, because I need time to log out and log in. And so make sure that you're sticking to the agenda and being just conscientious of people's time. How can I be of service? If anyone is going through a divorce, I'm the only certified divorce financial analyst on the NFLPA list. That doesn't mean I only work with football players, helping them through their divorce. I work with the average American. If you have had a death in your family, an inheritance, a job loss, any type of transition, or frankly, if you just haven't heard from your financial advisor, we're here to help. We offer free consultations, and I'm avid on LinkedIn and social media, just tons of books, tons of information, a huge advocate for personal finance and really self-empowerment. So, and I shared my contact info, so if I can help with anyone, thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Our next speaker is Tatiana Becker. Tatiana,
Hi,
are you
Terrence.
there? How
Yes,
are
I
you?
am. Hi,
Okay.
doing well. So my name is Tatiana. I live in Pasadena, California, and I run a staffing agency. I've been doing that for about 7 years now. I always say every new beginning is some other beginning's end. I was an HR director and I was laid off, and at the time it just felt like the most horrible thing that could happen. And I think it was the best thing that could have happened. And so I honestly started this agency by accident. I just thought I would freelance for a little bit, and then a few years into, I needed some help, and then I needed a little more help, and now I have a team of 15. So we've actually been working from home since day one. And so for me, this COVID environment isn't really a new thing. So I do consider myself a work from home expert at this point. A couple things we do. I really like the collaboration tools. We use Slack a lot, and we have different channels for Slack. I think something that's really important is just figuring out how to mimic the office environment online. So people don't just have meetings. There's also the water cooler, right? People need to ask each other, how are your kids? How was your weekend? What are you up to? Like, people need to feel a connection with the other people that they're working with. I feel like that it brings more harmony to the workplace, makes people want to be there more. So, we have channels for recipes. We have, people share pictures of their kids, their pets, what they had for lunch. And of course, you don't want that to overtake the workday, but I think it just kind of keeps people's spirits up. And so, Slack has been really one of our most essential tools. As a staffing agency, we use it's what's called an ATS system, applicant tracking system. So that's like a CRM system. So I would imagine probably for your guys' businesses, you have some CRM systems for keeping track of your clients. And I think what's really vital about that is that we can see everybody's metrics. And so everything you do in the ATS is an activity. So if you upload a resume, if you tag it to a new job, if you give that person a call, those are all activities. And so myself and the other leads spent some time measuring our activity levels and figured out for different seniorities, what would we expect somebody's activity level to be. And for most people, we expect to see 50 to 100 activities a day. If that's not happening, we talk with them. We actually found out one person even was moonlighting and had another job. So like I think it's important from day one that you're monitoring those activity levels to just make sure that people are there when they say they are. I think that's one of the challenges in this digital environment, because you don't see people sitting at their desk, you're not looking over their shoulder, and so you need some other ways to measure their metrics and make sure that they're being productive. So I think that's been really key. As far as meetings go, I have to say I'm a huge fan of Elon Musk and his quote, "If a meeting is a waste of your time, walk out." Meetings are expensive. I mean, if you think about having 10 people in a meeting times their hourly salary times how long the meeting goes on, that's really expensive. And so I think it's important for every meeting to see, is the ROI really there? And so our leads have our weekly one-on-ones with every employee. I think that's really important to make sure that they're happy and make sure that they're productive. But the big company